The applause economy. You don't scroll, you perform. You didn't open the app to connect, you opened it to exist. Let that sink in. Your hand moves without thought, muscle memory trained by invisible handlers. The home screen flashes, the logo opens, and before you even think, you're in, scrolling, consuming, approving, comparing, submitting, not to truth, but to the feed. This isn't leisure, it's ritual, a worship service for the god of engagement. But you don't kneel, you perform. That's the real economy now, applause. And you're both the vendor and the product. You trade authenticity for reach, depth for impressions, purpose for dopamine. And it's a great deal until you realize you're bankrupt. Bankrupt of self, bankrupt of silence, bankrupt of sovereignty. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." But the estimate now is outsourced. It's not what you do, it's how it plays online. Your breakfast is a performance. Your heartbreak is an aesthetic. Your opinions are pre-fitted for applause or backlash. Your conscience? It's whatever the comments say it should be. Social media didn't enslave you with chains. It enslaved you with permission. You feel seen, so you think you matter. You get attention, so you think you're alive. You go viral, so you think you're validated. But applause isn't proof of truth. It's just volume. And most of the time, it's an echo chamber of people just as lost as you. You didn't come online to learn. You came to be seen learning. You didn't post to express. You posted to be perceived. The algorithm is your god. The feed is your temple. And every swipe is a tiny prayer that someone, somewhere, will notice you and applaud. That's not connection. That's dependency. And dependency, no matter how beautiful it looks on a grid, is still a form of slavery. Seneca's diary would have been shadow banned. Seneca didn't write for the public. He wrote for Lucilius, one friend, one flawed man. His letters were private, introspective, useful. Try that today and you'll be told your content lacks hook in the first 3 seconds. Seneca's style? Too slow, too quiet, not optimized for virality. That's because Stoicism wasn't built for public consumption. It was built for private confrontation. It's not about what others think of your pain. It's about what you do with it. Now, you don't confront your suffering. You caption it. You don't sit with your emptiness. You stylize it. You don't heal. You brand. And the machine loves it. Because vulnerability is monetizable. Because tragedy is relatable. Because your soul has a market price, and it's pegged to attention. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." But you don't crave money. You crave metrics. You don't chase virtue. You chase visibility. You don't live stoicism. You pose with it. You screenshot a quote about detachment while obsessively checking your engagement. You post a reel about discipline after spending 4 hours editing your jawline. You share meditations as a form of performance, not reflection. Seneca wrote to reduce noise. You post to generate it. And if he saw your feed today, he wouldn't be mad. He'd just go silent, because silence is what Stoics do when words have lost their weight. And online, words weigh nothing until they get likes. Machiavelli would have owned TikTok. Let's play devil's advocate. What if Stoicism is the antidote, but Machiavellianism is the game? Niccolo Machiavelli would have thrived on social media. He'd be your favorite influencer, mysterious, effective, strategic. You'd never really know him, and that's exactly how he'd want it. Because Machiavelli understood the core truth of all this, perception is reality. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Sound familiar? Your profile is a curated mask. Your bio is a bait. Your photos are armor. Your content? A strategy. Authenticity online is just performance with better lighting. You think you're building a personal brand. You're just building a persona that harvests trust to convert it into status. Stoics find that nauseating. Machiavelli finds it effective. And let's not lie, some part of you agrees with him. You don't need motivation. You need friction. If this gave you any don't like it, live it. But if you want more like this, cold, honest, and unflinching, hit that red button. The Cynic's Stoic doesn't grow from applause. It grows from people like you. Because the Stoic in you wants virtue, but the Machiavellian in you wants leverage. You quote Marcus Aurelius in public, but study TikTok trends in private. You talk about honor, but play the algorithm like a chessboard. You crave stillness, but only after you go viral. Machiavelli wouldn't meditate. He'd schedule posts. He wouldn't ask, "What is the good life?" He'd ask, "What do people think the good life is, and how do I sell it to them?" He wouldn't talk about detachment. He'd invent a product to sell detachment as a lifestyle brand. And you know what? He'd win. Not because he's deeper, but because he plays the shallow game perfectly. So here's your choice. Be admired by people who don't know you, or be governed by values no one claps for. One earns applause, the other earns silence. Which one are you addicted to? If you think Stoicism is intense, meet Friedrich Nietzsche. He didn't want you to look healed. He wanted you to become the wound. He didn't want your curated pain post. He wanted your solitude, unfiltered, unsponsored, and alone. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But what's your why? To be liked? To go viral? To be remembered by people who can't remember their own passwords? That's not purpose. That's performance. That's identity by applause. Nietzsche didn't believe in crowds. He believed in creators. He didn't want your pain aestheticized. He wanted your pain transcended. He didn't care if you were visible. He cared if you were free. But today's herd is beautiful. It's filtered. It's monetized. It has a comment section and a subscriber bell. You're not running from conformity. You're dancing in it with choreography. Nietzsche warned us. In individuals, insanity is rare. In groups, it is the rule. And now, the group is in your pocket. You don't walk with your own thoughts anymore. You scroll with everyone else's. You're not becoming a higher self. You're becoming an algorithm-friendly version of what used to be real. Nietzsche wouldn't just log out. He'd set the whole app on fire. Because silence isn't a feature, it's your only shot at truth. And right now, truth doesn't trend. Social media doesn't just distract you, it monetizes you. Every swipe, every scroll, every pause, all tracked, all sold. You think you're browsing, discovering, expressing, but you're feeding a machine that profits from your attention, predicts your insecurity, and packages your identity into ads. You are the user. You're the used. You think your opinions are yours? They're just echoes of smarter machines training you to react faster, louder, angrier. Your envy is mapped. Your loneliness is indexed. Your desires are A/B tested. Seneca warned, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Today, that imagination isn't even yours. It belongs to a screen. You've surrendered your mind, not to a tyrant, but to a feed you refresh every 5 minutes. And the worst part? You're grateful for it. You're grateful that the algorithm remembers what you want better than your own journal. You're grateful that strangers approve your self-worth faster than you can feel it internally. You're grateful that you don't have to confront silence because it's always filled, for you, by them. You've stopped thinking. You outsource that now. You've stopped choosing. You scroll until choice is made for you. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. But you've lost that power. You gave it away for applause. And now applause is your leash. And here's the kicker. You're not even applauded for your soul. You're applauded for a performance that drains it. Your soul? That's a business model now. And you're the unpaid intern keeping it alive. If Seneca had a YouTube channel today, he'd have 12 views. If Marcus Aurelius went live on Instagram, nobody would comment. Why? Because virtue doesn't trend. Stillness doesn't scale. Discipline doesn't click. Depth doesn't get you on the explore page. Social media rewards rage, speed, noise, certainty. But Stoicism rewards silence, doubt, and discomfort. You know what happens next? You fake it. You post Stoic quotes while chasing chaos. You hashtag peace while drowning in anxiety. You cosplay self-mastery between dopamine hits. You talk like Marcus, but live like a content creator who needs metrics to sleep. And that's not Stoicism, that's marketing. Your feed isn't your life. It's a brochure of who you wish you were. You brand your discipline, you merchandise your misery. You export your wisdom to others while importing confusion into yourself. Virtue doesn't trend because it isn't meant to be seen, it's meant to be lived. And living it often looks like this: saying nothing when others shout, logging off when others broadcast, failing privately without making it content. The algorithm doesn't reward those choices, but Stoicism does. Because Stoicism isn't for the audience, it's for the mirror. When no one's watching, no one's clapping, and no one's liking. And if that makes you invisible, good. That means you've started to exist on your own terms. You don't need to disappear from the internet. You need to disappear from the need to be seen. Detachment doesn't mean deleting all your apps. It means being able to exist without needing the echo. You don't have to throw your phone into the ocean, but you do have to reclaim what part of you it owns. Stoicism isn't anti-society. It's anti-dependence. Marcus Aurelius didn't run from the Roman Empire. He ruled within it, without being ruled by it. He said, "You can also commit injustice by doing nothing." Well, doing nothing while being shaped by screens, that's injustice to yourself. You don't have to become a monk, but you do have to become harder to manipulate. Stop liking posts that rot your integrity. Stop posting things you wouldn't defend in silence. Stop checking who saw your story like your identity depends on it. Instead, write what you'd say if no one could read it. Create what you'd build if no one could share it. Reflect like your soul is the only audience that matters. Because in a world obsessed with applause, detachment is rebellion. Not silence for the sake of drama, silence for the sake of truth. You can't control the feed, but you can stop feeding it your worth. That's what Stoicism demands, not isolation, but immunity. And immunity starts when you stop feeding the machine more than it feeds you. Let's not be naive. Machiavelli still wins. The world isn't structured to reward your inner peace. It's structured to exploit your performance. Machiavelli would say, why not play both sides? Be virtuous in private and cunning in public. And you could do that. Many do. But let's be honest. The more you bend your values to gain applause, the less you even recognize what your values were. That's the quiet war. Every day, every scroll, every post, it asks, will you trade character for charisma? Will you swap solitude for validation? Will you sell silence for claps? And each time you say, just this once, you lose something invisible. Not your brand, your soul. You think you're in control? Check your screen time. Check how fast your thumb reaches for the dopamine. Check how often you refresh, hoping someone validates your latest echo. Now ask yourself, would you still post that video if it got 3 views? Would you still write that caption if it got no comments? Would you still quote Seneca if it earned silence? The answer exposes your slavery. Applause is addictive not because it's good, but because it feels like ownership. But it's not you owning attention. It's attention owning you. You don't chase success anymore. You chase visibility, even when it costs you everything else. As Marcus warned, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Well, here's the modern version. Waste no more time performing what a good man looks like. Become one, even if no one claps. Every time you edit your truth for likes, you lose grip on your spine. Every time you compromise virtue for views, you dilute your self-respect. And eventually, you become fluent in a language that doesn't include your real name. But Stoicism isn't a costume. It's a crucible. It doesn't sell well. It doesn't trend. It doesn't glow on the feed. But it builds you, quietly, privately, permanently. And it's in that silence that your self returns, less optimized, more real. So no, Machiavelli isn't wrong. He's just playing a different game. But you're done playing. You weren't built for applause. You weren't designed to be liked 24/7. You were designed to think, to stand, to suffer, improve, and stay grounded even when no one's watching. Stoicism demands that you face discomfort without an audience. Machiavellianism tempts you to become the audience. Nietzsche dares you to burn the audience and walk through the fire anyway. So here's your call. Choose silence over spectacle. Choose solitude over sharing. Choose character over charisma. The world doesn't need more content. It needs more conscience. And the person you're supposed to become? They're buried under all the likes you never needed. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Make yours clear. Make it still. Make it yours again. If you're the kind of person who saves Stoic quotes but actually applies none, congratulations, you're honest. But if you're ready to become more than a spectator of your own life, subscribe. This channel isn't here to flatter you, it's here to wake you.